Hello everyone, welcome back to Naomi's Bookshelf. I am going to do my recommendations for books that have migraine or headache representation now. This is something that's very close to my heart. I put out a video. My last video was about my personal journey with migraines and headaches and how that has affected me. If you'd like to go watch that, I put a lot of heart into it and I was very open and honest about my entire situation with migraines. In case you don't want to go watch it, it is 30 minutes long. I have daily chronic migraines, and so it is something that's very important to me to find migraine representation in books. I find that it is often very underrepresented and often used as an excuse in books, which is very hard to read. So we're just going to get straight into these 5 recommendations that I have. Now, as a preface to all of my recommendations, these are books that I have found to either imitate my experience or enable me to see another migraine experience, because not all migraines or headaches are the same. There are different kinds of migraines and headaches, different kinds of situations. Some people get auras, some people don't. Some people have all the time, some people have flashes. Even the pain level is different. So these are books that I have found to be enlightening for other people's migraine experiences or have imitated my own. So that's just a preface, and these are books that are not all about characters, but they do all have characters who have these symptoms or situations. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Anne of Green Gables. So in Anne of Green Gables, there is a character named Marilla. I have not read this book in a very long time, but in order for prepping for this video, I reread the section that this comes up in, where Marilla is suffering from headaches every day, and she says that pain is very constant and it isn't behind her eyes, which is very relevant to my pain experience with certain headaches and certain migraines. So this one does have Marilla. It does show up near the end of the book. That's not a spoiler for any plot wise. It just mentions that she does have it, and it kind of comes up later as a bigger plot point, but it is relevant. So it is something that if you're wanting to read a little bit about a character with migraines, this is a good one. There are not many classics that handle it, at least in my experience, well. So this is one that I appreciated hearing about and reading about the first time, and it's been a very long time, but I do want to reread this series, and I recommend picking up this one. I know there's the Anne along, which is almost finished right now, where a group of people are reading Anne of Green Gables series, so this is a good one in my opinion. So the next one is very different from Anne of Green Gables, and that would be Bourne Identity by Robert Ludlum. Now in this one, you follow Jason Bourne, who is, he can't remember anything. He has amnesia, and during parts of his amnesia or parts of his memory coming back give him very severe headaches. And that is something that I related to very well. It's something that just jolts on him and he can't handle the intensity. It actually hurts to even think. And I totally relate to that. This book is not for everyone. This is an espionage thriller-esque. It's very graphic in some points with murder and whatnot, or killing, but it is a very good book for the migraine rep, in my opinion. This is something that I have discovered to be, when I read it, I felt like I was on the page, at least in some regards. And so it was very interesting to read that, even though it's a very different situation, different to my own life. It was nice to see that kind of headache represented. The next one is also one that is very different from the other two, and that would be Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now this one, you might be thinking, where's the headache rep? Well, in this one, I'm going to spoil Harry Potter for you if you are not spoiled already, or if you have not read the books. So I'm sorry, if you don't want to be spoiled, there's migraine rep in this. Otherwise, in this one, Harry Potter is suffering from headaches when Lord Voldemort is in his head. He is frequently suffering these massive amounts of pain when he feels that Voldemort is angry or feeling high emotion. And so he suddenly gets these onsets of pain and he can't handle it. His head is just feeling like it's going to explode. And that is something also relatable to me. I find that very relatable and very helpful. It is definitely something where it's in a YA novel, which I think is kind of unique too. I mean, this is unique in general to find this rep, but I found this to be really great at expressing what that kind of onset of a headache would feel. And yes, it's a different kind of situation where someone else is in his head or he's feeling someone else's emotions, but it definitely represents itself in him as a headache, and a very sharp one. And that is something that I found very nice to read about, at least for representation wise. So the next two books I do not own, but I highly recommend them for the migraine rep. Now, also, all of these books are not perfect for everyone, but these are just books that have great representation. So the next one that I want to recommend, I do not own, is A Conspiracy of Bones by Kathy Reich. Now, this one was the first book where I was like, that's my experience. And it was such an interesting way to read it, because in this one, Temperance Brennan, it's a big series. This is like her latest release in the series. It was not my favorite book of the year. I'll say that. It was a 3-star for me for the plot, but the 5-star for the rep. It was just a great way to read my own personal experience in some ways. In this one, she is suffering from a brain aneurysm, I believe is what she was suffering from. And that was giving her daily headaches or migraines. She was suffering from migraines every single day. And it just depended on the day of how severity. And that is exactly my situation. And then on top of that, she is still solving cases or trying to work on cases with this body that shows up. And the way she just keeps working throughout the book, it does not show her being a victim of migraines. It just shows her being strong in the migraines. It was so wonderful to read about her continuing her job while having migraines and still working and still, like, yes, it was harder, but she was working. I'm sorry, I'm getting passionate about it. What was so awesome about this whole thing and why I'm getting so passionate about it is because so often in books, and I know that this is some people's real experiences, but when they have a headache, characters are forced to be silent and forced to be lying down and forced to do nothing. And that is not my experience. So my experience is working and living with migraines every day. And it was so wonderful to read about a character who, everyone who suffers with migraines is strong, but it was wonderful to see a strong female character with migraines going to work. And that is my experience. And I know that that is several other people's experience in the world. And everyone, like I said, has different migraine experiences. So some people can't. And I totally respect that. I totally get that. And that was me this morning. And every day is different. But I really loved just reading about a strong character who just did it. And she kept working and she kept striving to do her best at her job, and she didn't let it hold her down. So massive kudos to Kathy Reich for writing this amazing representation. And I highly recommend picking it up if you are interested in reading a book with migraine rep, because that is by far the best book I have read in regards to my personal experience. But I also said before, I didn't give it 5 stars because of the plot. It was a little predictable in my opinion, but the character development and the character representation, spot on, perfection. And so the last one that I want to talk about is as a recommendation is New Boy by Tracy Cavalier. This is one that I read, I think last year. I read it for a readathon, I can't remember which one. And this one was an interesting one. It's an Othello retelling of Shakespeare, which I have not read Othello, but I know it's a retelling of that play. And it follows a bunch of children in 5th grade and a big racial divide, which is actually kind of prevalent today. And it's about this boy, because Othello is very much about racism, who is Black and going to an all-white school. And it was very heavy on that, but it was also really great to see. It was great to see everything about that. It was a 3-star for me. I don't remember exactly why, but I did enjoy it. And I also really enjoyed the fact that one of the children had migraines and she got an aura every time. And that is not my experience. Auras are something where you have like a lighting covers your eyes. You just suddenly see these bright lights. And that's a sign to you that your headache is coming on. So you don't have one and then you get the aura and then you get the headache. So it's a warning sign. I do not get those, but it was really amazing to see that this character, she had these auras and then she would get these headaches and they were very hard for her. And as a child, I remember no one understanding my experience. And so that would have been a great thing to read when I was a kid with my own headaches. So, sorry, getting passionate again and emotional. But it was just a really wonderful book to read about the aura, and I was able to learn about other people's headache experiences, since I have heard of that. But it was interesting to read that in a character, and I felt like that was very representative of a lot of people in the community, the migraine community and headache community, of these kind of situations. I know I'm a real anomaly in the headache community, where I have a migraine every day, and every day is depending on the badness level. So that's something where I know it's not common in the community to have it every single day. And so it was interesting to read about it where someone doesn't have chronic migraines where they wake up with them, but someone who just gets them throughout the day, and then she has to deal with them as a kid. I felt like it was really great to read, and I wish I had read it as a kid for the rep alone. So that's my fifth and final recommendation for this video. I have heard a few more books that would be really interesting. So I've been told that 5/4 of an Orange is a really great headache book, which I do want to pick up. I've also been told that Twilight has headache representation, so that's another possible one for me to pick up eventually. And then We Were Liars also, I've heard the mother has headaches or migraines. So those are books that I am definitely intrigued to read in the future because of this rep. But please let me know that in the comments if you have any other representation for headache or migraine books. I know that there's several. When you type it in on Google, it just says, when you type in headache books or migraine books, it's all about how to get rid of your headache and 5 steps to getting rid of your headache and how to manage your headache. And none of them are fictional characters or the representation that I am looking for. So I would love to hear if you have any representation books that I would like to check out or that I have no knowledge of. Thank you for watching this very close to my heart video. It is something that I am clearly passionate about and want to see more of in this world. Please like and subscribe if you have liked this video, or if you would like to learn more about headaches, you can check out my personal story. I will see you next time with another video. Bye for now.